I just unlocked 120 FOV in COD Mobile, and this is how it looks. Sadly, only the super ultra mega developers like myself are the only ones who can use this. So I ran a Twitter poll a few days ago asking gamers, what's your FOV setting on COD Mobile multiplayer? And if you were the ones who participated, thank you very much, and look at the results. We got 51 to 60 at 11.7%, 61 to 70 at 19.7%, 71 to 80 at 24.2%, and lastly 81 to 90 taking the majority at 44.4%, which is surprising to see as we are not in an SMG or aggressive type of meta. When I switched phones, I used 80 for a while, but then I dialed it down to 75 as I was having a bit of difficulty spotting enemies from long range and even in medium ranges sometimes. And in the current meta, it's very important that you spot an enemy first, or else you'll be dead in an instant. So I DM'd one of my good buddies, Cisco, about his FOV. He was having issues with quick scoping and he wanted to be 100% accurate like an iPadder, so he used 51 FOV and never missed a single shot, or so he says. Cisco also mentioned that he tried to copy Heaven's 60 FOV, which is understandable as you'll see him using either a sniper or an assault rifle. I, myself, prefer using assault rifles. Should I have been using a lower FOV all this time? Are you using the wrong FOV for your playstyle? How can you fix this? What's the best FOV for when playing on a phone? But first, let's get an understanding of what FOV in COD Mobile is. Camera FOV, or field of view, is basically how much or how little you see on your screen depending on the value you set it from. You should also know that FOV, when you're aimed down sight, isn't affected at all whenever you change values. It only changes what you see when you're running around the map. This additional FOV setting doesn't do anything on your actual field of view. It only adjusts how you see your gun whenever you're holding it. If you lower it, it'll appear as if your gun is closer to you and will take up a bit more of your screen, and having a higher setting will make you feel your gun is farther from you and will look a bit slimmer. So what do you get when you use a higher camera FOV? In terms of movement, you will definitely feel faster whenever you run around the map. This is more of a visual illusion because you aren't actually running faster than the other players in your lobby. One of the reasons why higher FOV is used in a game is in order to see more in your surroundings. If you encounter an enemy close range, you'll tend to spot enemies easier even when they're doing movement, or if enemies are hiding in a corner, you won't have to turn as much in order to see them. Look at this comparison of 51 FOV versus 90 FOV. That being said, seeing more on your screen is great, but in return, the enemies will appear like they're so far away and it might give you a hard time to see them in a fast-paced situation. That brings us to the opposite of the spectrum, lower camera FOV. This will make you see less around the map and will make you feel as slow as a turtle at times. Lower FOV pulls in objects towards you, making enemies and objects feel larger, and you'll see enemies clearer. Watch this part on your phone in full screen and look at this target at 10 meters shown in different FOVs. You'll see that the lower we go, the larger and closer the target appears to be. In a situation where you're running towards an area with an enemy waiting on a head glitch, with a higher FOV you'll barely see that tiny head, but with a lower one, you'll be able to spot him and give you a bit of time to react. However, if you use too low of an FOV, you'll see way less in your surroundings and miss enemies that you would have seen even if you were using a 70 FOV setting. So when should you adjust to a higher field of view? If you're one of those people who like playing up close and personal and generally an aggressive player, you'll benefit with a higher FOV. It'll give you the advantage when it comes to quick engagements that involve a lot of movement. If you're playing on a larger phone or a tablet, you can get away with 90 FOV. However, at the time of recording this video, we're playing in a meta where gunfights take place from medium to long range, and with a higher FOV, you'll have a hard time spotting enemies. If you want to see things bigger, if you know what I mean, using a lower FOV will help you have a clear view of your enemies. This means if you're like Heaven, who primarily uses snipers, assault rifles, or if you prefer using LMGs, having a lower FOV will allow you to see targets first versus enemies that are using a higher FOV. But what are pro players using? Here are some of the FOV settings from pro players around the world. Keep in mind that they use different devices, but they all play on phone. Having tried 80 FOV and playing with 75 FOV, I was curious enough to try and play with 51 FOV and 60 FOV, and this is what happened. I can definitely see enemies better from afar, but I felt so slow and I kinda missed feeling a bit faster when running. I don't wanna go back to 75 to 80, so I tried some other values. I found that playing with 70 is nice, but I could go as low as 65. This is the range I feel most comfortable with, considering factors such as my eyesight, my phone, and how much of my hands are covering the screen. Using the highest FOV is nice, but keep in mind that you're playing on a mobile phone, which is obviously smaller compared to an iPad. That's why if you're playing on a tablet, it's a no-brainer to max out your FOV slider because you have a bigger screen. With a phone, you're gonna have to find the perfect one for you. One of the things you can do is put your phone as close to your face as possible to see better, but be careful not to damage your eyes in the process. I do have a few recommendations on what FOV you can use and start with. If you want the maximum visibility while accepting that it will feel slow, 60 FOV is the lowest I would personally go, as 51 would be too low of an FOV to begin with. For entry players or players that like playing aggressive, a higher range of 75 to 85 would be great. You could go 90 if you wanted to, but that's a good range to start with if you want a wider field of view. Lastly, a good range to play without sacrificing close and long range visibility and not having an illusion of feeling slow like a turtle is 65 to 75 FOV. Shadap is one of the more versatile players I know in the scene, so I'll say that 75 FOV would be the upper limit when it comes to versatile play. There's no set or perfect value of an FOV that everyone should follow, and various factors will come into play when it comes to setting the camera field of view setting that's perfect for you. One of the main factors is playstyle, followed by screen size, phone bezel size, your eyesight, and the weapons you use the most. That's it for today. I enjoyed making this video and I hope you learned something along the way. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you want more of this kind of content. Is there something you want to learn? Got a tip that we don't know about? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.
Watch out. Enemy orbital laser deployed. Hardpoint is ours. Hostile. Enemy's UAV. Hardpoint is ours. Hardpoint is lost. Lost the lead. UAV spotted. Enemy shield.